the assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, right? So if you don't know, recently the former Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated in cold blood. And it was, man, the video, when you watch it, it really just goes to show how relaxed Japanese society is, because they don't have a lot of gun violence. Because it really looked like he was out there just chilling. Like he was just out in the middle of the city, just giving a speech. It wasn't even a huge crowd. Like he was just out there doing his thing. Like it seemed like a relaxed excursion out into the city. Just like, I guess he was giving a speech or something. And then just pow, just motherfucker just shot him in the back with a damn pipe gun. It was crazy. But let's get into the intimate details of this. So this article says, let me see. Hold on. Which one should I start with? 'Cause I got articles from different places. So I'm going to do the one I got from Wikipedia first. Okay, so it says the assassination of Shinzo Abe. So on the 8th of July, 2022, Shinzo Abe, a former prime minister of Japan and a serving member of the House of Representatives, was assassinated while speaking at a political event outside Yamato Saidaiji Station in the city of Nara Prefecture, Japan, at approximately 11:30 a.m. while delivering a campaign speech for a Liberal Democratic Party candidate. Abe was shot from behind at close range by a homemade firearm. He was transported by a medical helicopter to Nara Medical University Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 5:03 p.m., 5.5 hours after the shooting. The suspect, Tetsuya Yamagami, was arrested for attempted murder at the scene, later upgraded to murder after Abe's death. Yamagami told investigators that he held a grudge against the Unification Church over his mother's bankruptcy and had shot Abe because he believed the former prime minister was close to the group. The suspect also had accused Abe of spreading the church's influence in Japan. Leaders from many countries praised Abe's accomplishments while expressing shock and sadness at his death. His assassination was the first of the former Japanese prime minister since Saito Makoto and Takahashi Korikiyo during the February 26th incident in 1936, as well as the first of a former G7 leader since Italy's Aldo Moro in 1978. So you don't have a lot of incidents like this in Japan. But even in America, though, you don't see a lot of assassinations of like politicians and shit like that. Obviously the big one, right? Well, damn, Abraham Lincoln, JFK. But still, recently, I'm saying like recently, like motherfuckers out here not trying to get their top blown off. But if you heard me about to laugh while I was reading this, it wasn't out of disrespect. I was remembering all the memes that was being posted about him telling people to have sex. And then that's why I was about to laugh, because I was thinking about those have sex memes. Because again, like I was talking about, like I talked about before, you know, Japan has issues with, you know, the herbivore males and, you know, a lot of people not participating in dating and sex and relationships and marriage. And, you know, Abe, I believe based on the memes, he was pretty outspoken about trying to encourage people to get into relationships and shit like that. But let's continue. So, assassination. While Abe was delivering his speech outside Yamato Saidaiji Station, the alleged perpetrator was able to approach within several meters despite the presence of security. At around 11:30 a.m., Abe was shot twice from behind with a homemade gun, resembling a sawed-off double-barreled shotgun, and collapsed. That's interesting because when I saw the video, it looked like the first shot had missed because I saw the smoke come out, but it's like Abe didn't react. And then the second one, it was obvious that he got hit and because he reacted to it. But I'm not sure. It says that he got shot twice, though. I thought he got hit once. The pellet projectile struck Abe's heart. I mean, look, this guy was obviously he's a bad man. He's an assassin. But damn, he got his heart from the back. Like he was. Those Japanese people, man, they don't play. Whatever they do, they put their heart and soul into it. You do not want a Japanese guy coming for your throat. Abe's security detained a suspect who did not resist. Abe was initially conscious and communicative after being shot. Shortly thereafter, he was transported to a local hospital by emergency helicopter with a wound to the right side of his neck and internal bleeding under his left chest. He was reported to have no vital signs when he arrived at Nara Medical University Hospital in Kashihara, likely due to cardiopulmonary arrest prior to his arrival. At 2:45 p.m., a press conference was held by Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, who stated that Abe was in critical condition and that doctors were doing everything they could. Abe was pronounced dead at the hospital at 5:03 p.m., around 5.5 hours after being shot. He was 67. Hidetada Fukushima, a doctor at the hospital, said the cause of Abe's death was blood loss, despite 4 hours of blood transfusions that saw the administration of 100 units of blood. Abe was the first former Japanese minister to have been assassinated since Saito Makoto and Takahashi Korikiyo, who were killed during the February 26th incident in 1936. The first Japanese legislator to be assassinated since Koki Ishii was killed by a member of a right-wing group in 2002, and the first Japanese politician to be assassinated during an electoral campaign since Icho Aito, then mayor of Nagasaki, who was shot dead during his mayoral race in April 2007. Oh, hold up. Okay, I'll just make sure I read everything. Yeah, I mean, it seems like from what I read, because one thing that I was interested in was the motive. That was the main thing, and I was worried that we wouldn't get a motive because I feel like reveal. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't get it, but I felt like they probably wouldn't want to talk about that because when you know when there's a specific motive, like there's a specific group that's being targeted or an idea that someone might not like, you know, that sort of thing can like light a fire. You know, it can encourage other people, right? It's like, well, this guy, he stood up for this idea. Let me, right? I was kind of worried that we would never find out like why he did it, right? Because obviously, if you're going, this isn't like the random spree shootings that we see, because those are pretty obvious, right? It's single mother raised enough. I'll play it, but it to me, I think it's pretty obvious that most of the time in America, these mass shootings are done because these people are mentally ill, they're depressed, they're unhappy, they're bitter. They were raised in under either bad or less than ideal circumstances, and they want to lash out at the world. I think more than anything, a lot of these mass shootings are like it's a desperate attempt to hurt the world as much as these people perceive the world to have hurt them. That's why they don't go after like people always ask, why don't they go after politicians? Why don't they go after law enforcement? Why don't they go after drug dealers and shit? And you have to understand there's a reason why they go after innocent people. It's because they want to harm the world. They want to hurt the world in the easiest way possible. They don't want to go after somebody that's going to put up a fight. They want to do the most damage while having to confront the least amount of resistance, right? And it's all, to me, I think it's all about hurting the world that hurt them. But when you're talking about a political assassination, it's different because it's backed up by ideas. It's backed up by a strong sense of belief and righteousness. And I think that sort of ideology, that sort of idea behind an assassination can be dangerous, because if he felt that way, more than likely he wasn't the only one who wanted to get a gun and shoot a politician. Maybe not specifically Abe Shinzo, maybe just one of his affiliates or the party he was affiliated with. You know, he talked about the Unification Church, and I might do more research on it later. But just what I read briefly about it, it seemed like that the Unification Church does have like different controversies surrounding it. But I'll look more into that later. So there's another article here that says, you know, what we know so far about former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's assassination. A day after his assassination shocked the world, police investigators are trying to learn the motives behind the killing of Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Damn, excuse me, I got oat stuck in my throat. Although the shooter denied political motivations, he told police the attack has been planned for months. Wait, he said the shooter denied political motivations, but so it's not politically motivated. I mean, I get that it specifically is about the Unification Church, but it seems like this is. I don't see how you can really say this wasn't politically motivated, but maybe I'm not getting it. Abe was shot from behind in the western city of Nara while speaking at a campaign event ahead of Sunday's parliamentary elections. Police arrested Tetsuya Yamagami, 41, at the scene. Yamagami, an unemployed former sailor in Japan's maritime armed forces, confessed to the assassination in which he used a handmade firearm, according to police. Police said Yamagami told them that he went to Okayama, another western city, where Abe was giving another campaign speech the day before the shooting, according to Kyoto News, which cited investigative sources. Yamagami denied any political motivations for the assassination, according to police. Yamagami mentioned his mother's bankruptcy after she donated to an unnamed religious organization with which Abe had alleged ties, according to Japanese media reports. Friday's shooting happened in a country where gun violence and political attacks rarely occur. Police searched Yamagami's home and found other improvised weapons, including handmade explosives. NPR's Anthony Kuhn reports. So he might have thought of like different ways he could kill him. Like maybe he thought like a bomb, just straight up explosion. But I wonder, cause if he's saying that it's not politically motivated, was there another target that would have satisfied him? Because if Abe is just affiliated with this Unification Church that finessed his mom, then like why him, right? Like how significant is his involvement or backing of this church? Is he donating millions of yen or something like that? Like what is his involvement? Has to be more significant than being loosely tied to it. Or maybe he just felt like this would draw attention to the evil deeds of the church. Like if I kill the most famous, powerful person affiliated to this group, it'll put eyes on the situation and what I'm talking about. Anyone who has even a limited knowledge of how guns work could have made the weapon used in the attack, firearms commentator Tetsuya Suda told Reuters. Suda said the weapon could have been made in less than half a day. Tomoaki Onizuka, Nara's head of prefectural police, admitted there were problems in security and apologized for failing to prevent the attack, according to reports from Kyoto News. Yeah, when you watch the video, it's like they look like they were so unprepared. Like they seemed somewhat panicked. And like they were confused, like, wait, what? Like almost like it seemed like they thought they were dreaming. Like, am I in America? Like I swear I woke up in Japan today. Like the way they responded was, oh man. If this was America, like, look, say what you want about America, but it would have been motherfuckers in suits diving, tackling that motherfucker. And it would have took less than like 5 seconds, and this dude would have had his skull cracked open on the cement, if not shot dead. Japan has some of the lowest rates of gun ownership and gun violence in the world, with only one person killed by gun violence in 2021, according to the country's national police agency. The Gun Violence Archive recorded over 45,000 firearm deaths in the U.S. that same year. That is ridiculous. That's why I really wanted to. That's why I really wanted to use this article. That last part. Wow, one firearm death compared to the 45,000 firearm deaths in the U.S. that same fucking year. Oh my God, we should be ashamed. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I like the fact that we can own guns, but we should be ashamed. we should be a fucking shame. We should, out of all the countries in the world, we should be setting the standard as far as gun ownership and having this right and using it responsibly. And we haven't done that as a people. That is absolutely shameful. That is that's disgusting. I gotta be honest. That's really a disgusting comparison That's horrible. That's America. Shame on you, America, for letting shit get so out of hand. This is just ridiculous. But anyway, I never known much about this guy. Obviously, my interest in Japan is hentai, JAV, and anime. so I'm not into the politics of Japan. So I wasn't. I probably seen him here and there, like on poll or in different pictures and whatnot. But I can't say I really had an attachment to him or had an understanding of what his ideas are. But it seems like he's a likable guy. Like, when it happened, I went to the poll board, and poll is a very toxic board. It's one of the most toxic boards on 4chan as far as like, the racism, the misogyny, the homophobia, a lot of this shit. It's a very like, you gotta have thick skin to browse poll, and you gotta know how to like to sift through the nonsense and the madness to find like good, stable, reasonable conversations. And it seems like nobody is exempt from just being completely like drugged through the mud on that board, right? But what was interesting is that the response to Shinzo's death was, it seemed like most people either like just didn't know much about him or they liked him, right? And I thought that was interesting. I kind of expected for people to be like, well, he probably did it because Shinzo Abe was having sex with underage girls, or he made this law that raised the taxes of the Japanese, or he did but nobody was pulling out the dirty laundry, because that's what I was looking for. I was like, well, he had to do something, right? Now, of course, I don't know myself because it's not like I've done extensive research on this guy. But typically what'll happen is if something like this occurs, then the people who do know, they're going to present their theories. They're going to bring out the skeletons. And I didn't see that. I didn't see, I checked thread after thread after thread, and I did not see that. It seemed like most people were just like, damn, like, that's unfortunate. Like, he just seemed like a really cool guy. But this whole, the most suspicious thing is the Unification Church aspect. And I think that's what I'm going to have to research if I want to understand, like, why this guy was assassinated. But until then, rest in peace, former king of anime land, Chad Marco. Wishes you a journey in the afterlife. I don't know how to rest in peace niggas. Okay. So next we're gonna have the OC, and then we're gonna have the main topic. So everybody stay tuned. Rest in peace, Shinzo Abe.